Hello friends, welcome to the unboxing and card video for the June 2022 card kit. I can't believe we're already like into May. That's crazy. Disclaimer as always, I'm on the Simon Says Stamp design team. The kits do get sent to me. I don't have to do the unboxing or anything like that. It's just fun. Hey Bo. Yeah, and Bo's right here, kind of in the corner. Well, not corner, beside me. Because I'm not talking to him. I'm talking to you guys, which he doesn't like. Hey, Bo. I'll talk to you too, though, because you're very cute. Hey? Yeah. So, this is the June 2022 card kit. It's called the Happiest Wishes card kit. And I've got a fabulous little, a green apple sucker. Yum. So, you get one of Simon's mesh bags. I've shown these in multiple videos, talked about them. They're getting many different colors available now, which is kind of fun because again, my plan is to get a few of these and like have kind of like a color designated per kid, you know, for them to keep little art supplies, just random things, because these are just so convenient and easy to clean, you know, like they're perfect. I love it. And for all of us crafters, they do fit your entire kit contents like perfectly. So I've started kind of organizing my kits that way. I have so much organizing to do. So anyway, you get the mesh bag. You get the fabulous Happiest Wishes stamp set. This is really cute. I'm really positive that this has all been designed by Christina Werner. This does just look like her little characters. So just really cute little images, little characters with little balloons. And then you've got like happy birthday wishes floating by to say happy birthday. Let's celebrate you. You're invited to a party. Happy birthday. So just a bunch of really cute little sentiments. I'm so happy for you. I'm floating. That's just cute. You know, I think it's adorable. So you get the big 6x8 set. There is a coordinating wafer die set for this that's separate. I'll have links like always. So you get that. You get Simon's new T-square ruler. I talked about this in a couple of recent videos as well. I love this little T-square ruler. It's 6 inches. It has inches and it also does have metric. So you've got centimeters as well. It's got a little like lip on the bottom, so you can line it up against your, you know, card base or cardstock or whatever, and it'll stay in place, and then you can get things straight. I really like this. I like the size of it, and it's sturdy. Like, it's not flimsy at all. So you get that, which is pretty awesome. You get that. There's the fabulous Simon Sunburst stencil. This is a 4-inch by 9-inch stencil, which of course goes fabulous with, this is the Ranger Starshine Stickles glitter gel. I'm really glad the Starshine's in this one because one of the previous kits, there was the pink and the blue color, I forget. There was like 4 really bright colors that Ranger had released at the time, and 2 of the colors were in a previous kit. Now we've got the yellow, and I think it's just the green that I need to get now. So this will work really nicely with this stencil. Hello. So you get that. There is this patterned paper. This is the Paper Rose Sunny Days pattern paper. So you've got just little like characters and balloons and little scenes. These are really cute papers. Paper Rose makes some like really nice products. Cute little scenes. Love that. And then like, I really love that one. So you get some pattern paper. Oh, there's another one hiding under here. This one's got a bunch of little sentiments that you could trim out. That's really cute. Yeah, that's really cute. Get that. You also get a sheet of, this is Simon's new micro dot adhesive sheets. So you just peel off the backing, and the adhesive literally, instead of being just a solid sheet of adhesive, you know, that you press things into, whatever, these are done in micro dots, which I think would work really well. Like, I'll get to the wafer die in a second, but I'm just thinking like how great that'll be for, you know, sentiments and other little things that you could just press into, you know. So you got your die cut piece, stick it onto here, I'd put the backing back on it and I'd use like my bone folder to press it. And because these are dots and not that solid adhesive, you won't get those like sticky bits everywhere. So Simon had released this with their May Yay You release. You can get a whole pack of these, but you get a sheet of it to try out in the kit, which is always super fun. And then there is the Big Hugs, or SCRIPTY Big Hugs wafer die. So that's also in this set. So you get a cute little sentiment. Like I said, it might work really well with this. I'll have to fiddle. I have no problem using like my craft tacky glue and stuff, but this might be more convenient. So you get the wafer die. You get some of Simon's holographic envelopes. I thought I had more in my hand. There they are. They're hiding. So you get 6 of them. They drive my camera insane. And I can't help myself. I hoard these envelopes. I'm so bad for it. With envelopes like this, I do it with all my envelopes. I print mailing labels for my envelopes. You could probably use a Sharpie to address, but I find with the holographic ones, the mailing label, it just makes it so much more legible, you know? But they're fun. Anyway, so you get a bunch of those. You get some Nina Classic Crest 110-pound solar white cardstock, so you can stamp your images, color them with Copics, etc. You get some green leaf and lipstick red cardstock as well, which goes nicely with the pattern paper. Honestly, at this moment, I have no idea what I'm going to make. I'm just going to have to fiddle and see what I come up with. I'm loving this little stamp set. It's just so cute. It really is adorable. So we'll figure it out. Stay tuned. I will have, the card project coming right after this. And then like always, I will have links to the kit, to the subscription, the info, everything that's available individually, all that stuff. I will have it linked down below as well as on my blog. And then yeah, just stay tuned and we will see what I make. Alrighty. So I ended up making 2 Slimline cards and used the Stencil from the kit. So I grabbed some Distress watercolor paper from my stash and I trimmed down a couple of pieces that were roughly, I think 3.5 by 8.5, and decided to do 2 because as always, why not do more than 1 when I've got everything sitting here. So I taped these down to a hardboard because I'm going to be using a lot of water. So this just helps keep everything flatter, so it doesn't curl up. And then I'm going to use Squeeze Lemonade Distress Reinker. You could smush ink pads like Simon's Pawsitively Saturated ink, Distress ink, Distress Oxide ink. You could just use yellow watercolor. That would work. Just anything is going to work really, because I just wanted a nice light wash of yellow. Now, the thing to note with Distress Reinkers is you need to use water with these. These aren't formulated as a liquid watercolor. They're meant to refill your ink pads. So there is additives in these that, to keep your ink pads from drying out. You don't want that to happen. So if you just paint it on straight up reinker without adding any water, it would sort of dry, but not really. Because again, those the glycerin or whatever whatever Ranger puts in their formula to keep your ink pad from drying out will prevent it. But if you add water, you're pretty much good to go. You get some way more concentrated color using the reinkers. I've done, a bunch of videos. So that's what I did. I had squeezed the Squeeze Lemonade reinker onto just, my little plastic palette, added water, painted it onto these backgrounds. Nothing too fancy. And then I mostly dried the panels with my heat tool. You can let it air dry. I just don't have the patience. And then I'm going to add a little bit more reinker, mix it with a little bit more water. And this I'm going to splatter onto the background. Now, because the background isn't completely dry, the splatters actually spread a fair bit, which I was totally fine with. I just kind of wanted more texture without things being too busy. So I did that. Dried it again with my heat tool, and then I'm going to add some white gouache as splatter. So same idea. I'm going to squeeze a little bit of white gouache onto my little palette here. I'm going to thin it out with a bit of water and then splatter that onto my background. So now I've got these little yellow backgrounds with a bit of yellow splatter, a bit of the white gouache splatter, and that's just my base for this Slimline Sunburst stencil. So once everything is dry, and I also like kind of wipe the tape a little bit too, just so that the stencil doesn't pick up like all the blobs. I'm going to use this fabulous STARSHINE glitter gel. I pulled out my press and seal. I've talked about this in a ton of videos. Anything like these any glitter gel, really. Glitter paste, texture paste, etc. Press and seal is your friend. I put it on the jars before you put the lid on. It helps really seal out the air and keeps things from drying out. Highly, highly recommend. I will post a link to it because Simon does sell this because it's hard for the more international peeps to get their hands on this stuff. But yeah, highly recommend. So anywho, I have the stencil and I'm applying this glitter gel over it with a palette knife. It's really hard to see in video and I'll show it, like I'll lift it up and then you'll see it also better at the end and the photos and stuff. But oh, the glitter, like this color is just so happy. I think that's why I just decided to kind of focus on this stencil and this whole little yellow theme. It just, you can't go wrong with yellow. It's so cheerful. So I put that press and seal in my jar, put the lid on, it's all sealed up. I immediately cleaned off my stencil and my palette knife because glitter gels 99.9% of the time, if you leave them on your stencils, they dry like cement. Not fun. So clean them immediately. Let everything dry. I removed the painter's tape that was holding these down. So there's like this gorgeous, sparkly sunshine background. I'm going to trim these down to smaller than what my cards will be. My Slimline cards are going to be 8.5 by 3.5 inches. So I trimmed this panel down to 3 inches by 8 inches because I wanted there to be a nice white border of the card base around these panels. So I trimmed those down and I also trimmed my cardstock. This is Simon's heavyweight white cardstock. So I trimmed these for my card bases. So they're 7 inches by 8.5. I'm going to score them at 3.5 to make my 3.5 by 8.5 inch Slimline cards. So I used my Teflon bone folder and my score buddy to add the folds. And then I use the score buddy to reinforce the spine of the card and to get everything, lined up, all that fun stuff. So once I've got my card base done off camera while that glitter paste was drying, I die cut the SCRIPTY Big Hugs from some of Simon's Sunshine cardstock, just a deeper yellow. And then I'm pressing those die cuts into that micro dot adhesive. So this is the first time I've actually used this stuff. I like it. I'm usually not a big fan of what I call dry adhesives like this. I just don't usually use them too often. But this, having those little dots, is way more convenient than the ones where it's just solid adhesive, The solid adhesive has their place for things, but I would never use it for like little die cuts like this. But it worked really well for these die cuts. Like you have time to fiddle and line them up and things like that. So I just pressed the die cuts into the adhesive. I used my bone folder just to, really press it in and then stuck them together. It was simple. And I reuse those same spots because since they're all tiny, tiny little dots, you're only using like a little bit in that one area. So I just kept reusing that same spot for these die cuts because I ended up stacking 3 layers together and I did that twice because I'm making 2 cards. So the dots to the eyes are set aside. Those I was not going to fiddle with the adhesive. It's way more easier just to adhere them in place, which I'll show in a minute. So that's all done. And now I've got the stencil again that's clean. And I'm going to use that on the inside of my card base. And I am going to blend Simon's Sunbeam Pawsitively Saturated Ink over that onto the inside of the card. So just picked it up with my blending brush and then blended that. I used my Post-it tape to, one, keep the stencil in place, but also to mask off past the score line so that I don't get a bunch of ink everywhere. And then after I did this to the first card base, I'm going to do it again to the second card base, just peel it up, stick it into place. And then while I was doing this, I was thinking do I want to, add sentiments, etc. And ended up deciding just to have this little sunshine on the inside, and keep these cards a little more, a little more simple, but also more open-ended, because all it's going to say is big hugs on the front and then no other sentiments. So you can use this for thinking of you, for thank you, birthday, like pretty much any sort of occasion, you know, you can send someone a cheerful, happy sunshine card. So blended the ink over the stencil again onto the inside of this card. And then once that's done, I'm going to adhere those panels that I had watercolored and used the glitter paste on and everything. So got everything out of the way. And then to adhere those panels, I am just going to use craft tacky glue. I did think about, you know, foam tape. You could, you know, pop this up with foam tape, create more dimension. But I decided to keep these a little on the flatter side this time. So I put craft tacky glue on the back of these panels and then adhere them into place onto the front of my cards. And then I'm going to just take my Misty and set it on top just to hold everything down while the glue is drying, you know, making sure it just fuses properly to the cardstock. So did that with both of these card bases, just stuck them side by side, stuck them under my Misty for a few minutes until the glue is dry, and then they're good to go. So once those are adhered, I can then adhere these little die cut sentiments. And for this, I just used same thing, craft tacky glue, just a little bit, adhered it into place. Once I've got the words in place, the dots for the eye, like I said, adhere them in place onto the card base. It's so much easier. So I just put a dot of glue, and then I pick up one of the little cardstock dots with my jewel picker, add another dot of glue, cardstock, dot of glue, cardstock. Quick, simple, easy. I wish I'd figured this out years and years ago. I've shown in other videos like me fiddling forever. Trying to adhere, you know, stack these tiny, tiny pieces when it's a million times easier and faster to just stack them in place. So anywho, added bling, of course. I have some Studio Claudia Pineapple Delight crystals, which were just perfect. So I kind of sprinkled those throughout the cards just for some more bling, shimmer, yellow, fun. So I adhere those into place. And then my envelopes are Simon's Slimline Dandelion envelopes. I was just going to leave them, but then I was like, ooh, how cute would that be if I stenciled the sun onto those too? So that's what I did. I put the stencil on one end, and I'm using Simon's CITRINE ink for this. That's the darkest yellow of the Pawsitively saturated inks. And blended that ink over the stencil onto these envelopes, and it just gives it that little extra something, you know? So blended that into place, and once that's done, these cards with their matching envelopes are complete. So you can see the shimmer and that glitter. Oh, love. So as always, I will link to the kit. Everything is available individually, plus all the extras that I used to make these cards. So you can check that out below if you are interested. I'll have the supply list, the links to everything below. I'll also link to my blog post, and then in the blog post, of course, there's picture links, all that fun stuff. So it's all directly below the video if any of you are interested. Thank you all so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping and commenting. I very much appreciate it, and I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye.